OBS being low. We are back with another Wuthering Waves videos. We are playing Wuthering Waves, and unfortunately, Wuthering Waves is EOSing. Yep. Yeah, the game is dead. All right, that's the video. So apparently, one Kaiser did God's work and looked and saw what HP inflation has occurred in Wuthering Waves. Now, obviously, everyone knows HP inflation is bound to happen in every single game, right? I mean, that's pretty clear. But so, there is this Google Doc. There's a chart, and there's a YouTube video covering it. So it looks like from 1.0 all the way up to 2.3, it has gone HP inflation by 39%. If you look at this on the surface level, and the highest was 2.0 at a 43%. Right now, again, HP inflation has to happen at some point. It is not necessarily the worst thing in the world. And yes, by the way, he's endless on zero. HP inflation as well. The game is still okay. The game is fine. Am I concerned for the future down the road in a couple months? Absolutely. But the game is okay. That has HP inflation too. There's multiple factors to both games. I don't want this to be a tribalistic thing. I'm simply going over Wuthering Waves HP inflation and how we got here. So let's watch this video because I'm too stupid to look at that spreadsheet. W Kaiser. I just pulled another all-nighter trying to make a video. That's why I might sound dead. I would feel dead too if I had to sit down. I had my comment ready. Absolutely. All gacha games are bound to have HP inflation. Absolutely. 100%. Right? The nuance of the conversation is when you start shifting blame from the players, from the company to the players that HP inflation is occurring, that's when things get dicey. But yeah. So let's see. My mic decides to cook itself in the middle of recording. Okay.
Hello there, Kaiser here.
What up, Kaiser?
I finally finished tracking Wuthering Waves' Tower of Adversity HP values that I've been working on for the past month.
Holy shit.
Your first question might be asking, why is it taking you so long? Why don't you just use Hakushin, that one data mine compilation site for the big Fort gacha games?
Yeah, why don't you use that?
Like you did for Zenless Zone Zero Shiyu defense HP values.
Yup.
Well, I'll get into that.
Okay.
As for Tower of Adversity HP values, there's at least 2 times where Hakushin popped up on Twitter. First by Lunar Emerald around 2 months ago, and then again by White Ze about a week ago on May 27th.
The Hakusha numbers were off, right? Correct me if I'm wrong, but I feel like the Hakusha numbers were off a little bit. So I feel like probably why Kaiser didn't use them. I remember there being some pretty crazy nonsense about it. So seems like it balances power creep and new strong characters that come out and make the game harder. Not necessarily, Exodi. One of the things that happened, like, okay, if you look at the graph, right? If you look at the graph face value, in 2.0, we got a big boost for all characters. One, Carlotta dropped. Carlotta was broken. Roshia's best in slot. Camillea's best in slot dropped in Roshia. But we also got Nightmare Echoes, right? Like, and Nightmare's Echoes gave a substantial buff to a lot of units, right? So you look at Cheng Li. Cheng Li got her stuff buffed, you know, on top of getting her brand eventually. Zhang Liao got buffed through Nightmare Echoes. Jian got buffed. Camellia got buffed through Nightmare Echoes. There's definitely multiple factors as to why the HP inflation occurred. Again, HP inflation isn't always necessarily bad, but that is like why you see such a massive spike from 2.0. I mean, even with 1.4 was at 32% at that point. Imperium set as well. Yo, what's good, God? What's good, AI? How are you? Imperium set as well. I mean, if you look at it, it seems like it was -6 at the beginning, -6 here, -11. They raised it up a little bit in 1.1. I want him to break down what the R1 and R3 means. Maybe I'm just stupid, but yeah. So Imperium set, you'd be surprised. A lot of people did it. Sonata sets are getting better. The 1.1 variations as well. That too. So when you put all those factors together, it does make sense. Yeah.
I actually responded to White Ze's post, seeing that I was about to finish my HP values chart, and pointed out how Hakushin was doing weird stuff with their HP values. And so maybe I guess White Ze took down his post to avoid spreading misinformation, but he was kind enough to provide me with his records of Hakushin's data. So I might compare how Hakushin's base values compare to live server values in a future update. Oh, and that one joke chart that was shared on St. Tontus' stream by one of his hate watchers.
That was funny. That was a good one.
Hakushin isn't accurate with those numbers. What I think is that they are base values, and then there is a file that modifies enemy HP values based on the kind of content you will fight them in.
Okay.
That being said, I spent the greater part of the last month taking screenshots of HP bars of current and past TOA clears, dumping them in Photoshop, pulling out the ruler tool, and using that to count pixels based on the amount of damage that was dealt to the enemy.
Oh my god. Oh my god, bro. I don't even know. He's employed too. Yo, W Kaiser for doing this, man. W Kaiser, yo, is good, Shadow. Oh, this is for the boys, bro. He did this for the culture. Like, he straight up did this for the culture. You know what I mean? He did it for the culture.
And holy shit,
Same.
there are so many HP bars. I did the same thing for Zenless Zone Zero on one occasion.
Oh,
Well,
I'd rather kill myself.
Let's just say it
Zenless
wasn't
Zero
a good
bars move.
experience.
Yep.
Zenless Zone Zero HP bars wobble inside the UI casing. Not to mention the design of the casing is slanted and it's not really clear where the HP bar ends.
Yeah.
That being said, the number that I had measured from a kind Zenless Zone Zero player on the St. Tonta server that provided me a clip.
Bro's overworking 100%.
Let's just say that counting the numbers was difficult, measuring the HP bar was difficult.
Yeah.
And I don't think I'm going to be verifying all of the ZZZ values because I can't really expect anyone to not sweat on the game and take a break to let the HP bar wobble around so I can find a good frame to start measuring from.
Unless someone does it, you know? You're cooked? Yeah, that French head is crazy.
Even then, the number that I measured out was quite close to what Hakushin had.
What's good, Dylan?
I'll continue trusting Hakushin with Zenless Zone Zero for now.
Okay.
Anyways, I got this pixel measurement technique from
What's
my
good,
time
Onyx?
in Destiny 2.
Destiny 2 mention!
I miss Wells.
Destiny 2 mention! Yo, bro's a Destiny 2 gamer. Let's go, son. Let's go. Yo, he's invited to the cookout. What the fuck? Oh my god. Dude, what a fucking chat. What a chat. Pontas skipped? Has he never played Destiny 2 before?
I learned it from a YouTuber, Aegis, who was trying to
Yes.
find a way to effectively test damage to find the most efficient damage setup for each boss in the game.
Kaiser is so fucking based. It's not even funny. Kaiser is so based. I'm going to leave my D2 talk for the end. Kaiser's so based, though.
He found a tool called the Destiny Damage Tracker, which calculates the boss's current HP based on the number of pixels that are taken off of the boss's HP bar as a result of damage that's being dealt to it.
Wow.
And that's basically what I did. I took that method, I dealt damage, I counted damage, and then I counted pixels using the Photoshop ruler. I probably should have used pixel count,
dude.
But I only thought
Boys,
of it
be
after
respectful. Be
filling out the
respectful.
entire
Everyone be
sheet.
respectful.
Oh, sue me.
My homie.
And so here we are. Yes, ZZZ's numbers are going up. Genshin's have gone up too.
Yep.
And you all know the situation with HSR.
The worst game out of all of them is HSR. It is HSR. Zenless Zone Zero. Again, I will say this for the 500th time before someone tries to misconstrue my words. I want the game to do well. I am absolutely nervous about it. But the HP inflation to a level absolutely makes fucking sense. Average Luck Gamer's video is goated with the sauce. Average Luck Gamer's video is amazing. HSR is out of control. HSR, there's no defending it at all. It's just, that's it. It's bad. It's just bad and objectively it's dog shit. But yeah.
Wuthering Waves has HP inflation as well.
Of course.
But keep in mind that mechanics featuring damage reduction, which have been implemented in each of the Hoyoverse titles, have not yet come to Wuthering Waves.
A 2-cycled? Yeah,
in
but
this case,
you're a whale.
raw HP values can only tell a part of the
doesn't
story,
matter.
because damage per second is a metric that happens while combat is going on and is not clearly reflected on paper.
Yeah.
I don't know whether it's necessary for me to say this, but damage reduction, defense increase, invulnerability phases, whatever you want to call it, is just another word for HP inflation.
Okay.
This is my take on the matter, though.
Huh. Do you agree with that? Well, damage reduction, defense increase, and invulnerability phases equal HP inflation. I guess the one that's getting to me is invulnerability phases. Is that HP inflation or time waster? I guess technically they're one and the same, right? I guess technically they would be one and the same because they're both still wasting time. No, I guess you're right. I guess it is right. It's still extending the HP. Yeah. 100%. Yeah, I agree with him. That's a very interesting take I haven't thought of before. Yeah. I wouldn't say it's another word for HP, but I would say it leads to it. I think just for the argument's sake, yeah, MMOs counted as 80 HP. Okay. Yeah. Damn, that's the very, very good way of thinking about it. I haven't thought about it like that. Okay.
This is my take on the matter though. HP inflation is a natural part of a live service game's lifespan, as a measure to keep players engaged with a challenge as they acquire new characters and or better gear. HP inflation only becomes an issue when it becomes rampant, increasing in a short period of time as a result of developers underestimating how much additional power is given to players in a short period of time. This is when the player base calls a new character or new equipment imbalanced. Having said that, with the way Kuro does their balancing and testing, Wuthering Waves' first limited character, our General GN, can still handedly stomp tower, and he doesn't even have his premium sub DPS yet.
Bro.
Perhaps this may incentivize Hoyoverse content creators to showcase past limited characters or team lineups, tackle the endgame, and see if they are still able to clear at C0, E0, M0, and with a base rank signature or two. I only include this restriction because much of the player base does not spend money or are monthly sub only, and it's in their best prolonged enjoyment to not pull past the initial copy of a character, and I expect fewer players to have signatures in the first place due to the non-guarantee nature of signature weapons in the Hoyoverse titles.
Yeah.
Because if older characters aren't able to clear the endgame anymore, probably less of an HP inflation value and more of a feature creep issue, because Hoyo seems to have a penchant for creating a conundrum for the players and then selling them the solution. Sure, one can make the argument that these mechanics can still be bypassed without having to use the shield characters, but it's still a pain in the ass to do so. Compare this with Wuthering Waves, where they first suggest using counter special move echoes, which all characters are capable of equipping,
Miasma,
which goes cocoon mode to recover vibration strength, and all characters have access to the grapple hook to swing behind it to knock it out.
I will say a lot of people do make a lot of false equivalencies to Wuwa. I think a lot of the Zenless Zone bosses are honestly let me rephrase it. I think some of them are genuinely better and more fun to fight. Like genuinely, I do think some of them are better to fight, but with that being said, they are super hyper specific, or they can be super hyper specific. Yeah, you can jump behind him and knock down his shield. People want to make a lot of false equivalencies to the game, and like, for example, the middle boss in Deadly Assault right now is Miyabi, ice coated. It's ice resistance, or ice resistance is lower, and anomaly. And then I'm like, okay, well, you don't really have to use like one particular character in Wuwa. Like with the bosses in Wuwa, as long as you're not going into a resistance, and even sometimes you can still clear it, there really is no mechanic. And now that could be a positive, that could be a negative. That completely depends on how you look at it. But when I look at, like, let's say Miasma, right? That you are having the possibility of either having a boss that might have resistance, as well as then now you have this Miasma mechanic. Again, Miasma is not killing the game. Everyone says that. Nobody said that. Motherfuckers are being stupid. But Wuwa doesn't have mechanics like that. You can just go in, kind of do whatever, as long as it's not on element. And Zenless Zone Zero, HSR, Genshin seem a little bit more hyper fixated on team building / I don't want to say team building, but maybe like having the right components, having the right element, the right color. You know what I mean? So it's like, it's very weird when people try to compare the two.
But yeah, that's pretty much it. Wuba's HP inflation has gone up about 40-ish% over the past year.
Yeah.
And a certain first limited character can still clear the game.
Square, I didn't know that.
His premium sub DPS.
I didn't know that.
So I think Wuwa is in a pretty good spot in terms of how endgame is being balanced and how character kits are being balanced. but maybe we'll see in the second generation of Wuthering Waves main damage dealers, because those sub DPS outro buffs do look really high. But
I think it's very fair to be concerned about the direction of Wuwa. I don't like arrow erosion, just straight up. Not a fan of it. I feel like these Cartethia might be okay by herself. I don't know. If she's not, I'll shit all over it. I will. Right? Although we're not really going to get a good feel for Cartethia until after her middle tower buff is gone. Right? Because when you use Zany in this middle tower, it doesn't feel as good. It doesn't. Substantially, it doesn't feel as good. I understand the concern, but I'm not as concerned, to be honest with you, because I do think their balancing has been pretty fucking solid so far. Other than Zany, I feel like this TOA is pretty solid. I just don't like using Zany in this TOA. Maybe that's a skill issue on my end. Like, Zany with Peeb, it's fine, because you can freeze the boss and shit. But, yeah, Zany with Rover, I'm not a fan of this tower, and I don't like the middle tower buff of 10%. But as a whole, I do think the game balancing is okay. Like, but I understand being concerned with like these Frazzle and the other things. I don't like Frazzle. I think Frazzle's kind of in a better spot because you get Rover for free, and Rover by himself is pretty decent. Mazzini wipes this TOA, but then again, I did preform the hell out of her. Shadow, do you use her with Spectral Rover just only with Shorekeeper? But, yeah, the other debuffs are kind of I mean, we'll see how they get treated. I just don't want to have a situation where we don't have any units that aren't free to apply these debuffs. Like, Arrow Rover, I think, is the biggest fucking L in this game. Genuinely the biggest fucking L. So, I get the genuine skepticism. It is a gacha game. All gacha games are inherently greedy. They're all going to be inherently predatory. So, I am looking more on the positive side compared to the Genshin and the Hoyoverse side. I've been burned by Hoyoverse multiple times as a CC and as a consumer, and so like I'm good. Like I'm fucking good. Now going back to the HP inflation, I mean, you look at this one right here. Resonator's attack increased by 20%. I mean, that's a fucking big just overall buff, right? So the HP inflation I've never personally really felt when I look at this graph. Like I've never sat down and been like, wow, like I feel like the bosses have significantly more damage. I just personally have not felt that way. And yeah, I mean, Gion's still clearing. A lot of other units are still clearing. We're getting another set that might even be better for Gion. Jinxie's missing her best in slot. I mean, I think the balance is pretty solid, man. I think we know why the HP has gone up. And could it go out of control? I mean, of course. Like, it's a fucking gacha game. Like, one day it probably will go out of control. I think Cartethia is a really big test. Cartethia is a really big test to see how the balance is going to go. But overall, I think it was a great video. W, man, for sitting down and going through all that fucking shit. I want to finish this off real quick.
That'll be it for me. I'll stick with it for a little bit longer. We're getting a good amount of content in 2.4, and I still need to complete all my 2.3 content, considering how much time I spent counting pixels of HP bars of all things.
Shit, bro.
So yeah, that'll
what are you
be
gonna do, the
me.
QB Derby?
See you all in Septimont then. This is Kaiser signing out.
Kaiser, that was a great video, man. I'm a sub. That was actually a great video. So yeah, I'm sure people are gonna complain and saying that everyone's justifying what was HP inflation. I don't think anyone ever said HP inflation was bad. It goes down to just like the Natlin shields, HSR, like fucking it's craziness. So yeah, I think it's valid. With that being said, boys, I love you. I'll see you in the next one. Mwah.